Welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of college basketball. And we got another Butler basketball recap taking on St. John's at home. Didn't end very well, but without further ado, let's run it. With both Butler and St. John's fighting for their tournament lives, this game carried heavy implications for how both teams' seasons could end up. Butler returned home to Hinkle after a brutal road stretch, and St. John's looked to continue their momentum coming off a huge win at home against Creighton. Throughout the game, it was evident these two teams would continue in the opposite directions they were headed, with the Johnnies crushing the Dawgs 82-59. So, what the heck happened? I won't mince words here. This losing streak has gotten progressively worse and worse, and with the season on the line, Butler laid an absolute clunker. During the first half, the two teams played on a relatively similar level, with St. John's taking a 6-point lead into the half. Once the second half started, these teams moved to the opposite directions as the Johnnies got hot and the Bulldogs couldn't be any colder. Led by their depth, the Johnnies ran away with the game as Butler lost by 23 points. Our struggles haven't improved at all as their losing streak reaches 5 games and the NCAA tournament seems farther and farther out of reach. Some of the top performers in the game on Butler's side, Posh Alexander and Pierre Brooks led the scoring. Alexander, the former Johnny, 15 points, 4-11 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, 7 boards, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Brooks, 13 points, 5 for 11 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, 2 boards, and 2 assists. For St. John's, Glenn Taylor was the leading scorer with 17 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. So a very good game for the forward. RJ Luis off the bench, 15 points, 7 for 15 from the field, 5 boards, and a block. The honorable mention for the Johnnies, he didn't produce much in the scoring column with only 7 points, but Joel Soriano had a field day with 13 boards, a steal, and a block. Some key points in this game for Butler. There's a lot of negatives from this game, so let's start off with a positive. Limiting the big man. They did an excellent job of limiting Joel Soriano. He had a quiet scoring night, especially by his standards, and a big reason was the defense of Jalen Thomas and Bowden Kapke. These two did an excellent job of contesting Soriano's shots and making his life difficult. The flip side is that although the Dogs stopped Soriano, St. John's bench balled out. More on that later. The negatives, with the Dogs going down 6 into the second half, their shooting rhythm that they got themselves into all but disappeared, and they just fizzled out in the second half. When Butler gets down in the game, sometimes they'll try too hard to dig themselves out of the hole and instead make the hole even deeper. You got to credit to the Johnnies. They played tough on defense, cutting off lanes to the basket, but when Butler gets into comeback chuck-up mode, bad gets worse. Another big thing is the disappearance of the big three over this losing streak. When the offense was rolling and Butler was playing well, the big three of DJ Davis, Pierre Brooks, and Jamil Telfort were the main drivers, and all three were clicking at the same time. Now they can't ever get those three on the same page at the same time, and the offense looks absolutely dysfunctional without them. In order for Butler to get back on track, it starts with getting those three all playing well together. And the worst part about this 5-game losing streak is you can essentially kiss the NCAA tournament goodbye. The tournament outlook seems drastically different than it was about 2 weeks ago. Before this slide, Butler was poised for a tournament spot. Now the entire team is in a collective funk, and it's going to take some get-right games to finish the season against DePaul and Xavier, and especially run in the Big East tournament to even think about an at-large bid. So a really disappointing stretch of games from Butler. You wished that they would have played better down the stretch to solidify their tournament spot, but, then again, here we are. For St. John's, it was a full team effort. The starting unit for the Johnnies played well, but without their bench, the Storm don't win this game nearly as convincingly. Guys like RJ Luis and Zuby Ejiofor either scoring or scoring close to double figures was a huge boost. And St. John's had 10 separate guys score a bucket in this game. The Johnnies bench thoroughly outscored Butler's 31 points to 12, so that was a big factor as well. St. John's is usually a very poor second half team, but in this game, they made it a point to keep their foot on the gas and play well until the final buzzer. And this second half surge is very uncharacteristic and something that you really like to see if you're a St. John's fan. Even though the Johnnies pulled away, they kept their starting unit in until the end, even though they were up 20 points. And when you look at St. John's, this is a team that has given their tournament hopes some life support. They had a lot of work to do, but apparently Rick Pitino calling his guys out in the media was the kick in the butt that they needed. Now St. John's is on a 3-game winning streak with impressive wins against Creighton and at Butler. The Johnnies have risen to at least the next 4 out range and are knocking on the door of the tournament. Some upcoming games for these two teams. Butler's next game is Saturday at DePaul. Let's be real. We can't even think about the tournament right now. We just need to survive DePaul and survive Xavier, get back to the Garden without any brutal losses, take it one game at a time, and get back on the same page. Think short term. For St. John's, their next game also comes at DePaul, except this time it's on Tuesday, so they get a little bit of a break. If they can continue being as hot as they are the rest of the season, tournament bid is very, very realistic. But that's all I got for this recap of Butler and St. John's. If you want to watch our other Butler recaps, I have all of those for the last few games up on the channel. Tim does Purdue basketball if you want more Indiana college basketball content. IU, we don't really have anybody for that, but you know, oh well, can't win them all. If you want to watch more college basketball content, March is fast approaching, so we're going to be bringing you tons of stuff until Selection Sunday and into the tournament. So if you want us to talk about anything else, let us know. And until next time, I'm out.